Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. It is October 14th, 2025, which means the better part of a month and a half has passed since Judge Stephen J. Hippler entered the September 3rd, 2025 second order seeking parties' position regarding sealed documents. And this had to do with the potential unsealing of the second set of documents from April and May of 2025 in the closed case of Idaho versus Kohberger. If you have not yet had an opportunity to watch our prior presentation where we went over this second order seeking parties' position regarding sealed documents, please do so because it will provide the background details regarding what is potentially up for consideration for unsealing to the public in a case which has been closed since July of 2025. There has been a change since this order was entered that we are going to be going over in this presentation. Before we do, and it relates to the case summary page, let's look again at what this order is stating. It reads as follows: as the court noted in its prior order regarding sealed documents entered on August 4th, 2025, as part of the process to review sealed records to determine which should be unsealed, the court will process the review of these documents from newest to oldest. The next batch of documents concerning which the court will review require the parties to indicate whether they have an objection to unsealing any specific document or portion thereof are identified below, and then in parentheses using consecutive numbering from the court's first order, end of parentheses. The response must identify each document by date, name and number of each document identified in this order. The parties must file their response, including, if appropriate, a notice of non-objection by September 19th. And if I could just interject a comment, the prior order entered on August 4th, 2025 dealt with sealed documents from the very end of the case, June and July of 2025. The numbering system that the court is identifying here, beginning with number 44, if you look at the prior court order of August 4th, 2025, you will see that the sealed documents are numbered 1 through 43. So the court here is picking up where he left off with item number 44, the May 30th parties proposed stipulated jury instruction. Let's return to the second court order, second paragraph. It says here, the second set of documents the court requires the parties' input, as outlined above, include the following documents. In parentheses, dates referred to date of filing as reflected in the clerk's case summary, end of parentheses. This is where there has been a change since the court's order of the 3rd of September was entered, which we're going to get to in just a moment. But regarding the parties' responses, both did. The state of Idaho filed their response meeting this deadline, and they put it right on the court docket for you to review. The defense, however, elected to file their responses under seal, so the public is not privy to what the defense stated relative to their objections or non-objections to the 2 months' worth of documents under seal filed April and May of 2025. Now, with respect to the case summary page, this is where there's a lot of difference. The court indicated that the parties were to look at the case summary page. This is what the case summary page, the last documents from May of 2025, look like. All of the documents listed here are represented with a PDF icon indicating that these are unsealed to the public. From the beginning of the case, it appeared that there was a system used by the clerk of court in documenting all of the key events in the case. Any court orders, any filings from either of the parties, hearing notices, court minutes, motions, responses, replies, stipulations, declarations, and everything else that's been documented since the beginning of the case, which occurred back on the 29th of December 2022. Now, with respect to these items that appear in the second order seeking parties' position regarding sealed documents, there has been absolutely no ruling from the court regarding where matters stand relative to the unsealing of these documents. And as I stated, this was filed back on September 3rd, 2025. We are awaiting some sort of a ruling from the court relative to the current status of these sealed documents from April and May of 2025. Once there's some activity on the docket, i.e. an order of the court determining which of these documents will be sealed, which will be unsealed, which will be unsealed with redactions, similar to the rulings Judge Hippler made regarding the June and July documents, we will, of course, advise you. As always, our positions here constitute our personal opinions, commentary, speculation, simply looking at the documents proffered pursuant to the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. If you have any comments, any thoughts, any opinions that you would like to share with fellow members of the public, please leave them here. And until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you very much for joining us here today.